Hi guys, in this video I'll be recapping 90 Day Fiancé Happily Ever After Season 9, Episode 18. Since this was a long episode, I'll do it in two parts. This video is part 1, which will cover Darcey and Georgi and the Florida Collective. Look for part 2, where I'll cover Brandon and Julia and Jasmine, Matt, and Gino to come out in another day or so. If you enjoy recaps of reality shows like 90 Day Fiancé and Love is Blind, please like, comment, and subscribe, and check out my other videos and playlists. We'll start with Darcey and Georgi. They're at a bar where we left them in the last episode. He's explaining that he didn't realize until after the Bulgaria trip that he really does want kids, that his parents expect this of him since that's their culture. Darcey argues that in the past he said he didn't want kids, that they were too expensive. He tries to explain that his mind has changed lately. I want to note that Darcey looks quite impaired in this scene. When we left them in the bar in the last episode, she ordered one Cosmo and she seemed fine. But in this episode she sounds like she's slurring her words, so I'm assuming she pounded a few more Cosmos between filming breaks. She won't let him talk, and he explodes that he's tired of this dynamic. He says this is the main issue, that she doesn't listen to him, that this is why he never told her before. She tries to take control of the breakup and says this won't work. She says when his sister mentioned kids, it hit his heartstrings, as she slurs her words. Tears are falling from his eyes as he tries to explain, but she won't hear it. She's like, I don't think it's gonna work, Georgi. She says, stop wasting my time, as she shakes her head sadly. For some reason, Georgi is playing along with the scenario, that she's breaking up with him. He says, but I love you. She says, I'm strong. I can be by myself. As she walks out of the bar, he says, you're always the one giving up. Georgi loses me here. Darcey does a tipsy confessional outside where she rants that he doesn't know what he wants, that she asked what he wanted for years, but he always gave different answers. As she struggles to keep her eyes open, she says maybe they should sign the divorce papers and call it a day. Back in the bar, Georgi says he just needs to figure out what he wants, and he doesn't know how this will affect his marriage. I'm like, what? I thought they just broke up. I'm guessing the only reason Georgi played along with the idea that Darcey was breaking up with him was to spare her feelings or to avoid an argument. Or maybe he really doesn't want to break up. They definitely have a weird dynamic. He looks much older than he is in his eyes, and I think the relationship is wearing on him. I think they'd both be better off apart, Georgi especially, and I hope they do separate. Now we're with the Florida Collective, who are still vacationing in Lake Placid, with the exception of Lauren and Alexei, who left due to Libby being a jerk. Andrei and Libby and Yara and Jovi are sitting around a fire and making s'mores, which Yara keeps calling s'morfs. Jovi is trying to toast the graham crackers too, but the others tell him this is not acceptable. Andrei refers to Lauren and Alexei as idiots for leaving. Yara says they left because you guys were causing drama all the time. Libby is visibly annoyed at this. Jovi says he doesn't think Lauren and Alexei are bad, but that Libby and Andrei try to influence them, not to like them. Yara asks why they need drama around them all the time. In response to this, Andrei says she's just like Lauren and wants to instigate something. Okay? Yara says, no, sir, I was saying I don't want any drama or to fight with anyone. Andrei says, well, yesterday everything was apparently fine, but Jovi brought up the issue. Jovi says to Libby, you came in my room bashing her yesterday. Libby's like, bashing her? Ugh. She says, nah, I was informing her of things Lauren said about her, so that Yara is cautious. Libby says, in fact, it's almost like you guys were trying to stir the pot, as she fully shifts the blame onto Yara and Jovi. In their interview, Libby says she wonders if Yara and Jovi are the common denominator here. She says how Yara first told her that Lauren said Alexei was a dick, and that then Yara told Lauren what Libby said to her in confidence. But we know Libby also tells what anyone tells her in confidence to others. For example, the body-shaming text issue with Lauren. So, whatever, Libby. Major projecting and gaslighting takes place as Libby tells Jovi and Yara she can't help but see when there's any type of issue, they're in the middle of it. Jovi says Andrei can't be around anyone and not fight with them. And Libby's like, what? Impossible. Libby asks Yara how she can trust her when she tells something Libby said in confidence to Lauren. Yara says she didn't tell Libby, that when they were at the bar, Jovi instigated the discussion. Libby hits two birds with one stone and is like, well, you knew Jovi's a blabbermouth and that he would tell her. Then Andrei points out how Jovi was a dick to his wife and called Yara ugly. Then he's like, so Jovi was a dick to his wife, and Alexei was a dick to his wife. I'm never a dick. I'm like, what? How did we get here? Jovi's like, no, you were a dick at Lauren's housewarming party. In their interview, Yara says Andrei is the drama queen. Jovi says he and Yara aren't the problem, but that Libby instigated the conflict and will blame the person who mentions the conflict. And he now sees how fast they can turn on people. Yara says she doesn't like Libby's gaslighting and that they're toxic. Jovi says to Andrei, everywhere you go you cause problems, like at the housewarming party, and adds that Andrei also causes problems with Libby's family. Libby takes offense big time and says Andrei was just defending himself against her family and that Jovi doesn't know the facts. She explains that her family was intolerant of Andrei from the minute he got to the US. Andrei tries to add something and Libby's like, "Hold on," and goes back to trying to defend him. I don't like Libby's gaslighting either. She's gaslighting the entire 90-day audience because we saw what really happened at the party. In her confessional, Libby says Jovi bringing up her family and Andrei's relationship with them is a low blow since he doesn't have all the info, and that he's just trying to find a way to point the finger, and that they're actually the problem. Andrei stands up to leave, and Yara says she didn't get a chance to finish her side of the conversation, and asks if he's sniffing glue or something. Libby gets up to follow Andrei, but before she leaves, she says some kind of profanity to Jovi and Yara in Russian. Yara, in outrage, explains that Libby called them a very rude form of the word bitch. The villainous duo then walk away, leaving Jovi and Yara shaking their heads. Now Libby is finally alone, without a friend in the world, save for her precious husband. He's finally gotten her to remove everyone else from her life, and he stands victorious. I say this because in the past, it seemed like Andrei wanted to isolate Libby and rid her life of her friends and family. This may still be true, but Libby has come into her own as a true villain this season, so I hardly feel like she needed the help. Did Andrei make her like this, or was she this way to begin with? That's the question. I originally thought the Florida gang was just giving us a quick update like Big Ed and Liz did, but they seem to be here to stay, which is so unfortunate. I didn't like these couples much to begin with, so having them all combined seems like it magnifies their idiosyncrasies and somehow makes them even more insufferable and annoying. Well, at least that's the case for Libby and Andrei, in my personal experience. I will say, though, that compared to Libby and Andrei, the other two couples seem like the most amazing people. Anyway, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.